Yo, what up?
What's happening?
You hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you. How about on my side? You good?
I can hear
Got the AirPods inside it. You know, sometimes they're low quality. You know.
Actually, those don't sound too bad. I think it's because you got the old ones in. No bougie ones, you know.
Got you. I save those for their really important meetings.
It makes sense.
What's up? What's up?
Just chilling, man. You know.
Yeah.
Working.
What you got behind you? You got some PhDs up on the wall? What are they, your doctorates? What are those?
I don't even know. They're Dylan's, my roommates. I don't know.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm just filming in our dining room. Are you kidding me?
Hey,
dude,
whatever works, man.
I'm all on a budget. You know what I'm saying?
You're balling on a budget, or that's where the food's at. You sit in the dining room and eat and meet. That's it.
Welcome to the show.
What's up, man? Yeah, thanks for having me. Yep.
You know? You got the all blue going on today?
That's it. I got my kids' soccer practice later, and I'm playing substitute coach. So had to be decked out for the Poland Bulldogs.
Yeah, I was about to say, are you going to like a football game or something?
Something like that. Football. I was gonna say, yeah, you're right. You're not wrong.
Have you been watching that, the Olympics?
A little bit. Yeah.
What do you watch? What's your thing to watch?
I've been watching these grown men beat up on these little girls. That's what I've been watching.
These grown men?
Yeah. Like you see these power lifters that are like 6'2", 350-pound man that's competing as a woman and he's winning. Like she's winning.
They're winning.
I'm just saying. they're winning. Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm about to go back and play girls basketball, and I'll be all right.
You should.
Yeah. I might get a college scholarship.
What's stopping you? You know.
I would say my age, but I could just identify as a high schooler. So
yeah.
Whatever works, man. Whatever works.
I mean, I don't know. What do you think of the whole Simone Biles situation?
I mean, she's a freak athlete. You know what I mean? So it's kind of disappointing, you know, in one way, and then at the same time, your heart breaks for her if she's really, you know, has those. I don't know the whole story, but I know it seems to be like some mental health things and some other things happening, and you know, you just hope that somebody like that gets help, you know, and there's people around her who care enough for her, not just the competition side. You know what I mean? So, and again, I don't know the whole story, but just the headlines from what I've seen, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's a very unique situation.
Yeah.
You know. What are you up to today? Just practice? Just soccer?
Just running from one thing to the next. We got some big stuff happening. I mean, as you know, I wear many different hats. You know, so business stuff, and then got a lot of stuff going on at the church that I work at, and we got a busy weekend coming up, busy week, and we got a huge conference coming up. I got some clients that I'm working with on my business side that got some stuff happening. And I'm officiating a wedding next Saturday. So I got all that stuff happening.
Like a referee? Like you're going to throw flags?
Yeah, they're going to fight. And if she wins, they get married. So, you know.
Somebody like holds the ring too long as.
Exactly.
3-second violation, something like that.
It's just like that. It's just like that.
That'd be more of an after.
You're not wrong. So what you got going on, man? What's going on? So this is how many of these have you done? These
this is
video cast number 3. Okay.
Number 3.
Who were your first 2 guests better than me? Who'd you pick before me?
I texted you first. You know that.
I'm just saying.
Busy. You're out here playing soccer with a bunch of kids instead of being on the podcast.
That's right. So where do you put the podcast out? Where do you put it out at?
Goes out to YouTube.
YouTube. Okay. All right. YouTube world.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, I think the last one I put up has no views, but I'm praying. You know.
Hey, I got videos on YouTube that have no views,
which is fine.
And then I got some that are like 17 or 18, and I'm like, let's go.
I know. Dude, I keep looking at your numbers. I'm like, dang, one day.
One day I'll get to that 17 or 18. Listen, Jesus had 12 and he was happy. You know. Like,
hey, that's right. Except for every time he spoke. But no.
other than that.
You got people in trees. You got
That's it, man.
People with weird names, Zacchaeus.
That's right. I was gonna do the office meeting today, but I stepped up because it's so nice. So I got trees.
Oh,
I got a
okay.
tree right behind me here. So
You ever hide in those? Like when you're reading, when you feel really spiritual, you climb up?
no, the problem is with trees like this, like at my age where I'm at, is once you get up in that tree, you can't get back down. Like, you know.
Sometimes you got to run the gauntlet, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Like, it happens. Hey,
Is
I
it?
can't climb trees.
I would believe
Apparently,
you could identify as somebody who could climb trees though.
I've tried.
Oh, okay, it didn't work.
I've tried. It didn't work. No, people were like, you ain't no tree. And I shouldn't have done it. Like, I was downtown Youngstown. If I would have went, like, to a suburb, it would have worked
You've
out.
done somewhere else.
Yeah,
You're right.
Youngstown, they'll tell me how it is. But people in the suburbs, you get the idea, you know.
Gotcha.
And you run with your idea.
Dude, I almost rocked the Andrew Lucas shirt too, but I
Dude,
didn't.
you
So I
shoulda.
seen, yeah.
Dude, in case I forget, I'm ready to go. You know,
That's it, man.
went to a counselor today. I was like, what up? And he was like, yo, what's up? He was like, what's your name? I was like, hold on 1 second. I just got
You need to do your shirts upside down though, so you can read it.
it's in production. We'll see. We'll see.
It's this is spelled wrong. It's upside down. Oh my goodness.
No, it's backwards. Like one of those.
That's right.
Hey, so what are you doing out at the church? What's your title right now? Because it seems like you got a new title every month, you know?
Not every month, but quite often it's changed. You know, I've done everything at the church, title wise, just about. I've been on every team. You know,
I was usher last year. You're in Kismet.
I was usher last year, and when I came back in, you know, years ago, I was the kids pastor, and you know, that was crazy for a lot of people because they don't, you know, they're like, oh, Isaiah's not a kids pastor, but I was brought in to build a team to kind of take over. So I started there in the kids area and oversaw all the volunteers there and the staff that we had.
Who's your sound guy?
Oh no, he's not there any longer. He's not with me any longer. I don't know. I don't use the sound guy, but he looks like this guy down here.
Yeah.
So
that's what I heard. Like, I don't know. I heard you're a pretty cool guy, you know? Maybe has a little too much fun sometimes, you know?
Yeah, but you helped me out. You helped me out in a lot of ministries I oversaw. You know, so in the kids, when I was in the kids area, overseeing, I mean, you know, the staff and the team and the kids there, you helped me those teams with the IT and tech and video, lighting, sound, all those areas. So I did the kids for 2.5 years, and then an opportunity was opened, and there was a need for the youth. So I stepped in and did, you know, that 13 to 19-year-old, you know, range at the church. Did that for 2.5 years, and then since post that, I've been. What's that?
Need at the youth.
Yeah, there was a need. There was a need. There's a book in production on the story there, but you know, I can't go into it. But
hey, you know, it's weird. When you were like a kids pastor, like you can watch kids and it's cool, but if you're like not a kids pastor and you're watching kids, you could get dragged out of the baseball field, you know?
Yeah, people go to jail for that type of thing. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. So
got to get the title.
No, but it was cool, man. It was cool to be with those different areas of ministry and those different ages of the kids. So from the kids to the youth, and then now I have my title is actually the operations pastor. So I oversee a lot of the operations, but I really work with a couple key managers at the church and work with them and their teams. What's that?
Like Pem does, like that kind of operation?
Something like that. Black Ops. Black Ops.
Okay. I was thinking like math, but Black Ops sounds new.
Yeah, even better. What's that?
You still streaming?
So I do from time to time. Yep, I stream. So I get my hand. I'm one of those people that I like to do a lot of little different things. You know what I mean? So that's why even with my job at the church, and then I have my business. With both of those, people are like, explain to me what you do, and I'm like, well, how much time do you have? Because it's really different every day, and I enjoy that. But on the operations side, like I oversee our office manager and their staff there, and all the things that happen behind the scenes. I oversee our facilities and maintenance department and all the things that happen for our facilities. So whether it's replacing a roof, working with budgets, working with contracts. So I oversee all that, and then I also work. We have cafe at the church, for food, drinks, coffee, snacks,
Donuts.
all that fun stuff. And so I oversee that staff and team. So those are the three primary areas. And then I'm also one of the members of our, we have an internal name for the team and we have an external name for the team, but it's kind of like our executive leadership team.
Mm-hmm.
And then the internal name we call them the Avengers. So, so it's like you need to have some superpowers to be on this team, so I'm on the executive team at the church as well. So just working through a lot of different things, and some of those are fancy titles, but they just mean that I get to do a lot more work. And I'm usually working 60 hours a week at the church, and then I usually do about 20 hours a week in my business, and then I'm still dad, husband, coach, friend, all the other titles that are equally as important. So
how'd you get into doing 35 million different things at once? Where's that from?
Yeah, so I mean, there's been a couple different things. One of the things that I've learned over the years is balancing opportunity. There was a season of my life where I would walk through any door that was open, and I think that was the right thing for that time. And I actually encourage a lot of people who, especially if you're younger, not even in age, but just in your walk of where you want to be in business or in life, just say yes. Say yes to a lot of things. So that's how I ended up in a lot of the places that I'm at. I just said yes. Some people overthink things. I think it's important to use wisdom for sure. But I just said yes to a lot of different opportunities, from different jobs to investment opportunities to business opportunities. I said, it usually look like, hey, Isaiah, what do you think about XYZ business? Or what do you think about investing in XYZ? Or what do you think about doing XYZ? And every time I would train myself to say, that's interesting. Let's talk about it. And it just kind of opened up a conversation, as opposed to most people would say, no, I'm not into that, or no, thank you, or whatever. So I just kind of changed my mentality just to be open to different things, and to walk through the doors that God would open, and I would just have to trust God. Like if I'm going to fail at this, please, close the door before I do it, because I don't want to mess up, And so in the business world and in the leadership realm and in different opportunities I've had, I've just said yes to the door in front of me.
Yeah. What was the like genesis? Where it was God over money, but money could still be around. You know what I'm saying? Like, where was the genesis to your? You see what I did there? Making sure that
I like
you're still around. You know what I'm saying?
You got the Christian crowd, and you got the I got you.
People are like, Genesis, is he talking about a beer? What's he talking about?
Right. What's going on? Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I could think of a couple moments that could equal to like, okay, that was a start of something. But I think for me, just the way I handle all that, whether it's business, my relationship with my family, my relationship with God, all those things, my relationship with finances and how I view those things. I think my genesis would be back to just the way I was raised. You know what I mean? A little bit of my story, but I was raised in a great home, but in a rough upbringing, in the sense of
not Amish.
Really rough. No, actually, that's where I was going with it. I was Amish. No, no, I actually grew up in the inner city in a rough part of town. I mean, it wasn't uncommon to get mugged walking home. It wasn't uncommon to walk outside and go to grab your bike and it's stolen, or go walk out and get in the family car and it's got no tires on it, to walk out and somebody's
you got any good
graffitied your house. What's that?
You got any good mugging stories?
Mugging stories?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them, but like I said, it wasn't uncommon. I'd be riding my bike and get jumped by a handful of guys, and they take everything you have. And as you get older, you learn when people approach you, they're like, "Hey, man, come here." Like, you don't come here. You just ride faster. You just keep going. So, it's like little things you learn. But again, I think going to that is just the way I was raised in a rough part of town. We really didn't have much, and so it just helped me be thankful for the things that I did have. And I remember, I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was a point in my life, I was maybe 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that range. I think when you're starting to think about, okay, what do I want to do when I grow up? Those kind of things. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. There was a lot of things that I thought would be interesting. I thought for a while I was going to be going to college. I had a scholarship to play football. So I thought I was going to at least get that route by myself 4 years to see what I wanted to do. And, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to be poor. You know what I mean? Like, poor, I've been poor my whole life. I've been poor for 18 years or, 17 years at the time, whatever it was. And so, yeah. And so I realized, I'm talking to one right now. What?
Yeah.
Hey, no, I'm just playing.
Hey, give me till Friday, all right?
Yeah, hit my Cash App, bro. Hit my Cash App. Yeah. So that was really just the, I would say, whether you call it a pivotal moment or open, kind of open my eyes to. I just knew I didn't want to be poor, but I also knew I wasn't the smartest person in the room. You know what I mean? I didn't have a 4.0. I wasn't going to be book smart in the sense of I wasn't probably going to be a doctor or a lawyer. So I kind of looked at the people around me who were successful, and even though we grew up poor and in a rough neighborhood, I watched my dad his whole life work his butt off, start his own company, started a janitorial business and a carpet cleaning business. And that business was very successful until he actually got hit by a van and was in a really bad vehicle accident that was not able to work any longer and had to sell his business. What's that?
So, like, he couldn't be the janitor anymore. The doctor's like, no, we got to clean you up.
We got to clean you up. Exactly.
Anymore.
Exactly. But he took something, and it's what I teach a lot of different people and encourage people with. Listen, you can make a lot of money doing anything you want to do. You know what I mean? If you want to freaking paint rocks and sell them, as long as you're the best at it, you'll make a living. You'll do well. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially the world we live in right now. Whatever it is that if you're good at it and you have a passion for it and you can do it with excellence, you can do it for a living, no matter what it is. Like if you wanted to be an underwater basket weaver, you could be the best in the world and make money doing it. You could start a Twitch channel and get sponsors and you'd be fine. You know what I mean? If you want to be the best, poker player or marble player or jacks or, or painter or whatever it is, you can be successful at it, and you can make a good living to where that didn't used to be the case. You know what I mean? So I think my dad just instilled that, like, hey, he was started out as a janitor working, just cleaning, I think, a church, and then told himself, I can start my own cleaning company, and did that. And then he's like, I want to get into carpet cleaning and like steam cleaning carpets. So he bought a carpet cleaning machine and one thing led to the next. And he was back in, early 90s, he was doing, at that time, a couple $100,000 in business, which was a lot of money back then, especially for someone who came from nothing, and so that I think those things just kind of instilled in me, to work hard and to fight for the kind of lifestyle you want to live and be able to ultimately help people, because that's one of the worst feelings, I think, for me, at least in my personality. What I enjoy doing is, there's nothing worse than being in a position where someone needs help and you can't help them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think, if you get your stuff together first, it opens you and makes you available to be able to help others,
So you were like, how can I not be poor, right? What was for you, what was your solution to that?
Yeah, so my solution was to just keep trying different solutions until something worked. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've done a lot of different little things. One of the first things that I did is I got a little bit of money from something, and I thought, oh, okay, I can go spend this and blow it overnight.
Were you like,
you know what I mean? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I can't talk about. My attorney said I'm not allowed to talk about my past life. Yeah, but I got a little bit of money, and again, it wasn't nothing major, but it's something you could have blown in one day, or you could have, or you could do something with it. And so I said, let me just start investing. And I knew nothing, so I'm like, let me just invest it. So I started looking into stocks and bonds and how do you get started there and investing into this. So I invested, a chunk of money into some stocks and bonds and gave it some time, and it grew. And then I took some money from there that I made from there and thought, what can I do next? And I just kept reinvesting it, and reinvesting it and buying other stocks or bonds. And then eventually got it over a handful of years, snowballed it a little bit, and then started buying some commercial properties and started buying, real estate and say, and so I would take,
No, you
places
don't
and
want
flip
that
them. Or
fake estate.
what's that?
You don't want that fake estate.
Nobody
I've been
wants that.
fooled before. I thought I had my own star.
Yeah. Yeah. Starregistry.com. They
Yeah,
got you.
they got me, man. I only gave them 10 grand, but
Yeah. They took it. They took it.
they took
But
it.
yeah, so
Cash
it
out,
was just
bro.
cash out you for a star. Yeah. Should have been a red flag. Should have been a red flag. But yeah, so I just kept investing and trying, and really a lot of it just goes back to trying to make wise decisions. You know what I mean? Like, early on, you're 18, 19, 20 years old and you got a little bit of money, and it's easy to, go get an Escalade or a Benz or this or that. And I always had brand new cars, but they were GMC or this or that, your typical, Honda Civic, brand new or whatever. And it just, just trying to make smart decisions. And again, hindsight's 2020. If I went back,
Well, actually,
I wouldn't have bought it.
But I know what you mean.
Hindsight's 2021. Yeah, not even in 2021, right? But again, hindsight, I would go back and I would do even a lot of those things differently. You know what I mean? Just decisions I made financially and choices. I would have invested more and spent less on myself, only because I realized even now, if you want what other people have, you gotta cut things now to be able to do that later. And so many people, the world we live in, everybody wants things now. Everybody wants things. They see instant success. You get TikTok famous, or you see these people that do, they're the best at their trade. They play video games for a living, or they're a soccer player and they get a huge deal, or they're a basketball player and they get a huge contract, or they're, a personality on social media and they get, huge monies from advertisement or whatever. And again, those are the 1 in a million situations, where you got to realize that you got to outwork everybody else. The odds of you have just as good a chance as hitting the lottery in a lot of those areas. You know what I mean? Which means you should just work your butt off, and success will find you. So I think, again, the way I was raised, all those things kind of led me to, the understanding of a lot of those things,
Yeah.
I mean, if I hit the lottery, I'd still be happy. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying no.
Wouldn't be anything, like you'd be on one of those shows in a couple of years.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's funny, just even that mindset though of like, how many people say I want to hit the lottery. Like I've even said that, like, oh, I wish I would hit the lottery one day. I've never played the lottery in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm never gonna hit it. You know what I mean? And it goes back to the same thing. Like, oh, I want to be super successful in this area, or I want to be this, or I want to be that, or I want to be skinny, right? Well, if you're eating cookies and never working out, not that me and you would know about that, but
don't
I mean,
say it, bro.
you know what I mean? Like,
Not today.
Not today. So yeah.
All right. So you're from Toledo, right?
From Toledo, from the 419.
419.
That's it.
If you would have told me any other numbers, I'd believe you. So I'm not going to verify that, but probably like the 512 or something,
I lived in the 512. That's St. Louis.
Can't tell.
I live there too.
If you're lying.
I'm serious.
I know you live there. You've been everywhere. You've been like.
I have. Yep. I've been everywhere.
When you go places, do you tell them like, yeah, I'm from Ohio, one of the big 50,
You might not have heard of us, but
you're like in California, and they're like, yeah, what?
I've never been to California, but I'm sure they would say that.
All right, where have you been?
Yeah, so obviously I'm born and raised in Toledo in the 419, and then moved to the 330, moved to Youngstown.
Let's go.
Moved here for a handful of years, and then went to St. Louis. Lived there for a little bit. Lived in St. Louis.
What were you doing in St. Louis?
Yep. So I was working at a church there, a large church, doing a lot of different things, getting some good experience and just meeting some good people. And it's actually in St. Louis that I met a business partner of mine that I worked with for a long time on a lot of different things. And actually kind of through that relationship led me to joining and starting my leadership business. So it's kind of a cool story. I was in St. Louis for about 3 years, and then moved to Austin, Texas.
All right.
Helped start a church there and do some other business things and get a lot of stuff done there. And it was neat. You know, I was moved to Austin right in the middle of their boom, like right before it started. So Austin's always been it's a bigger city for sure.
Buffalo might be
Capital,
moving there.
it's the capital. Buffalo might be moving there.
Have you heard? They keep threatening the ownership.
Is that where they're trying to go? Is Austin?
The ownership is threatening because they won't let them build a stadium. Well,
Yeah,
they will, but they're like, we want to use 100% tax dollars this time.
Right.
And
They're not having it.
Like, no, you're drunk. And then the Picolas are like, we're moving to Austin. So, I mean, if they move to Austin, actually, you know what's interesting? Buffalo doesn't have much of a fan base outside of, like, Buffalo and Toronto.
Sure.
But Austin has a pretty big presence for the Bills there. Like, it's
really.
You'd think everybody would be, like, loving on Jerry Jones. But
well, no, that's not. So again, from living in Austin, Austin is not a NFL town; it's a college football town.
Yeah,
from the Longhorns, you know, and they're huge. Everybody's a Longhorn fan. But in Austin, because at least when I was there, no, not at all, absolutely not. Yeah. Nope, they were not fans of the Buckeyes. I'll tell you that much. But one of the things in Austin is almost a lot of people that I met, I would say the majority, so 51% or more of people that I met are not from Austin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're all from you meet somebody, they're from LA, they're from Wyoming, they're from New York, they're from Ohio, they're from
Wyoming.
Pennsylvania. I heard of somebody. I just made that up. I heard of somebody from Wyoming. No, but yeah, you'd meet people from from every different state, you know, and they're like, they moved there because Austin was growing, you know what I mean? And at that time, real estate, you know, back when I first moved there, real estate wasn't much different. I mean, not downtown Austin, but in all the suburbs, you could buy real estate for the same square footage per, you know, price that you could here in Ohio, you know, so it wasn't like any other big city you move to, you're paying, you know, $35 a month for a apartment. I mean, so yeah, so it was
wait, hold on, you keep cutting out.
What was that?
You keep cutting out. Where are you at?
Keep cutting.
I do? Really?
Yep.
That is not. That's not good.
Dude, there you go.
Am I cutting out? Really?
You were. Now you're better. Now you're back. You're back.
I'm calling Armstrong right now, bro.
That's it, man. I'm hitting 100 gig right now. I'm good.
100 gig?
That's it. 100 meg. 100 meg. My bad. Not gig.
That's
100 meg.
What are you talking about? I thought you were saying like 100 gig. Like, I was like, what are you running, a Bitcoin mine over there?
No, 100 meg speed, man. Up, you know, you're up and downs. You know, you don't get that up speed, but you get the down. That's what Armstrong will get you. Like, we'll get you 100 up. No way, 100 down.
Down.
So,
what do you think of this Bitcoin thing? All right, are we past Bitcoin? Is it time to start buying Ethereum? Do we buy crypto? Do you buy crypto? What are your thoughts on crypto?
So I haven't bought any crypto. Mostly. I mean, not because I wouldn't. For me personally, again, most of my finances they're wrapped up in long-term investments. You know what I mean? So for, you know, if I wanted to pull out and buy $10,000 worth of, you know, cryptocurrencies, the fees I would pay and the dollars I'd probably lose, it would all equal. Even if I did good, it would only be for me to be able to say, yeah, I invest in cryptocurrency, you know, which I don't need to, you know, to do that. So, yeah, I mean, again, I think it's one of those things where anything that people are willing to buy and sell and trade, there's got to be money made, you know, so there's definitely money to be made in cryptocurrencies. But yeah, I personally don't know enough about them to, I don't like to gamble. I like to invest, you know, and I think there's a big difference, you know, and I think people can gamble when they invest, you know, blindly choosing stocks or blindly investing in businesses or blindly investing in anything, you know what I mean? I think that's gambling. I think that's right on the line there, you know, so yeah, I prefer to invest. Not that it's always a good deal. I mean, I've made a lot of money, but I've lost a lot of money, you know, but you know, I can always look back in every investment and say, with the data that I had at the time, it was a good decision. You know what I mean? And so now I've had that stuff, those times where I'm like, I invested because I really wanted to, because I thought I was going to do something really big, and it wasn't a smart decision, and I lost money, and I can look back and say that was stupid me,
Yeah.
But most of the time I look back, and if I lost money on investment, I can look back and say hindsight's 2020 for sure. Knowing that what I know now, I wouldn't do it. But if I had the same data then, now as I did then, I'd probably make the same decision.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. So.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I like it. This is some good atmosphere. I had on someone who owns a business downtown, and then I had on someone who's just has a long career list when it comes around. So it's cool. It's cool. We get to talk about a lot. The goal is not to be Joe Rogan, but to be like Joe Rogan. I don't watch
you
UFC,
look like him.
but I watch WWE. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm kidding. Please, WWE is fake. I watch UFC. Okay.
That's so funny. There you go. The real stuff, right? The real stuff.
Dude, Conor McGregor just broke his leg. It just
nasty.
It went to go and try and yeah. It was like when Dak took that step last year. You remember that? Screwed up his leg real bad.
Yep. Yeah. It's. Nobody wants to have a broken leg. Nobody wants to see that. So,
well, you come from a family injuries, right?
I think something like that. I don't know if I started it or I don't know if I started it or what's going on, but yeah.
What was your big injury?
So I've had a couple injuries. I mean, again, minor.
I feel like there's one that stands out though.
Well, so some of those wouldn't be. I don't know if I'd consider them injuries, as more of like medical issues. You know what I mean? Like I've had some medical things happen over my life. But even just hip with hip, I can't go into it. I want to protect the innocent. And but yeah, medically, I do that my whole life. I mean, I could sum it up by saying since I was a kid. I mean, I was anybody who's ever heard of the Make-A-Wish organization. I'm a Make-A-Wish kid. I've spent a lot of days in the hospital dealing with life-threatening sicknesses and diseases and different stuff. And
wish, though?
I did get a wish. I actually got 3. So I got 3 wishes, and how old was I? I was like 12 or 13. And I got 3 wishes from Make-A-Wish. They say, give us 3 and we'll try to make one of them happen.
That's right.
And so my first wish was to meet Barry Sanders and go to the Lions Stadium, be a part of that atmosphere, meet my favorite football player. That was my first wish. My second wish was a shopping spree at Best Buy. And my third wish was a trip to Disney with my family. And so they ended up getting me the shopping spree. So they came, picked me up with a TV camera and everything. It took me to Best Buy and said, fill up the truck. And I loaded up the truck and went back to the hood. And I'm like, I gotta bring this stuff in the middle of the night. I can't bring this stuff out in the daylight. You're loading in, back then, I mean, I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a PlayStation 1, a big screen TV, a stereo system. I think DVDs were just kind of the thing. So a DVD player, what I mean? And then I don't know, 50 DVD movies that I bought from Best Buy. I was just chucking stuff in the cart, you know what I mean?
Hey, back then you could walk into Best Buy with $100.
Seriously.
In your heart, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I think the shopping spree back then, I think it's a long time ago now, but I think it was like $5,000. So again, that would be like maybe today going and spending $10,000 at Best Buy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Imagine what you could get at Best Buy for $10,000. You know what I mean? So
you probably get like a Disney trip. No, I'm playing, man.
Yeah. So that's I think it was all like an equal amount where the Make-A-Wish does, to a certain amount where they can make your wish happen. But it was cool. So yeah, so that again backs up to my medical stuff. I've gone from that all the way up to now dealing with stupid stuff like kidney stones and pancreas and all kind of not fun things.
I wasn't even thinking about that stuff. I was thinking about, because I know you've had some kids who have destroyed some.
Just one. So I just got one. Yeah, just one. One of my athletes. I got 3. I got 3 daughters, and they're all athletes. But the oldest one, she's just had a heck of a time keeping her leg straight. She's torn her ACL a couple times and broken her foot once, and and she's just a hard player, and so we've dealt with all those things. She's basketball only now, basketball only. So she was a soccer and basketball player her whole life, and she's going into her junior year now, and because of the injuries and and some other things, but mostly because of the injuries, she's just doing basketball. So so we'll see how the season goes, but it'll be a big year for her. So
hey, definitely her and like Carson Wentz should start a support group,
something like that. Sit in a circle and tell each other how difficult life is.
Dude, it is. I don't even know. Like I've never broken a foot. Least I've done is like twisted my ankle.
And that stuff hurts too.
And grown toenails.
Hey, that stuff hurts.
That's the devil right there. Oh my.
That's it.
So you've been everywhere, right? So like you were talking about leadership training. So how did you get into? Explain a little bit about the program you got into, and then how you like made the decision to go to that one. Were there other ones on the table? What made you decide which thing? I'm explaining that a little bit when it comes to your business and where that stems from when it comes to the John Maxwell stuff.
Sure. Yeah. So I got connected with John Maxwell. I've been, being a leader has always been important to me, just because I've realized early on that if you don't have a good leader, no matter what, if it's a business, if it's a sports team, if it's whatever, if you don't got good leadership, not just the leader, but good leadership, whatever you're doing is not going to be successful, at least long term. You know what I mean? So early on, I realized that I wanted to grow personally and develop personally, become a better me, and then grow as a leader. And so I began looking into it. And actually, I got connected with the John Maxwell team because one of my business partners in St. Louis, we were working on some things, and he was connected with the John Maxwell team, and just through some business dev and stuff, I got connected with him, and he's actually a pretty high up in the John Maxwell team. Like, there's like John Maxwell, and then he's like right there, and then there's the 100,000 other people. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
So I got connected with him. We went to church together and did some business stuff together, and just kind of seeing what growing in leadership did for him. So I took a leap and said, I'm gonna go get trained. I'm gonna study. I joined some courses through Ohio Christian University, did some leadership training, then went to Orlando, Florida for a week and got trained and got certified to be a leadership coach and to really start a business training other people to be better leaders, and so I did that, started my own company, Integrity Leadership. And, really it's easy to say the rest is history, but really one thing's led to the next. And I do one-on-one leadership coaching. I do group leadership coaching. I do business development. I help business leaders grow their business. Go into the secular world. I go into the nonprofit space, and really look at a lot of different things, but look at, their people, their process, their growth opportunities, and really ultimately all of those things, your finances, your DNA, the way things feel, all those can be summed down to the root is usually a leadership. Either if you're successful, it's because you got good leadership, and if you're failing, it's usually because you got bad leadership. And so I just went the leadership train, and and started with myself, because you can't lead others until you lead yourself. You know what I mean? So I just really started there, and that's right. I really just started there. You know what I mean? And then again, for me, I mean, again, like I said, I'm a pastor too. So I've learned early on some of the things that separate some leaders is that that God void. I really don't believe you can be truly the best leader you have potential to be without God. You know what I mean? And so I think when you let God in and help you to do those things, it really works. And then if you're just authentic and incredible and all the other things that go with being a good leader, you know what I mean? Some people don't know what a good leader looks like, because you ask them, well, who's been a good leader in your life? Like, some people don't have a good answer for that. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody lead well, you know what I mean? So that's where the leadership space really got for me, is being able to go into organizations, businesses, nonprofit space, one-on-one coaching, and really just help people or organizations get better at their leadership. And the cool thing is, usually anytime I go in, I learn as much as they do. You know what I mean? Because you get to see different areas, and so I've been in the nonprofit space almost my whole life, being a pastor and working in a church. And then I spent, 10 years in the financial world, managing and leading, teams of, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people in the sales financial area. And,
You
ultimately
friends with Jordan Belfort?
Jordan Belfort. I don't know Jordan. Who's that? Tell me about this guy.
You serious?
Who's Jordan Belfort? I don't know.
You're joking.
You're like, wait a minute, I'm gonna go on to another. I'm gonna do another segment of Did you know? No.
Where's the wolf at? You know the wolf? Like,
see, I think he does sales. I heard he does like sales training, but he's like in a different city or something. He's in a bigger city, like on Fifth Street. I think he's on Fifth Street. Hey, I think your mic got unplugged. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're moving around, because I can't hear you any longer. Nope. There you go. I can hear you now. I can hear you moving.
Can you?
There we go. Yep. You're back.
Let me just unplug this. All right.
Okay. You unplug it. Take a commercial break.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. We're gonna go with that because I think this is just a crappy adapter. Apple, and you can't have a USB port on your freaking MacBook, whatever.
I get you.
Yeah. So
yeah. So anyway, so this Wall Street guy you're talking about. I mean, I've not heard about him, but
no.
I'm sure he's good at what he does.
Probably. I mean, I heard they made a movie, but I haven't seen it. But I heard they made a movie.
Yeah, but even dude, like literally, like even in the financial world. even when I worked in the financial world, like the jobs and the titles and the things that I held, I had no education for. And the reason I was able to do a good job and be successful and grow was because of me wanting to be a better leader. You know what I mean? And there's been, this is not the only time, but numerous times even then I would be leading a team of people who are all smarter, more educated, better at their jobs than me. But for some reason, it always led to me being their leader, because ultimately I think it's just because I really cared. I wanted them to be successful, and when people know you want them to be successful, they buy into you, so.
Yeah. Have you seen that guy on TikTok who does the sales on there, like door-to-door sales?
Like the window cleaning and all that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great. He's great. He's the best, man. He's the best.
So is that what you
He's
teach?
the best out there. No, that dude could be out there teaching somebody though. Yeah, that's good.
That guy could make me buy anything.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the best. And he's funny. He's so funny.
Like, you want a timeshare? I'd be like, I guess I want a timeshare. For the record, no one should ever buy a timeshare, but you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So what is your who you look up to? Like, who's your role models?
Well,
don't say
honestly,
Maxwell. I know he is. You don't have to say him. We already brought him up.
No,
but I'm gonna have to put that in the clickbait. Like Isaiah Rowe to talk about John Maxwell. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No, honestly, there's a lot of people that I look up to in lots of different circles. You know what I mean? There's people that I look at and I glean from in a lot of different ways. I mean, there's people personally, some that if I said their names, nobody would know them because they're a relative or they're a friend. You know what I mean? And so, if everybody's got an Uncle Mike, you know what I mean? Like, that is just like gives good wisdom and is solid and somebody you can trust and you can go to. And then people have, again, I won't mention his name, but like a John Maxwell, you know what I mean? Like somebody that you really lean into and learn from, and then there's people just in the business world, people I've done business with, I think I've learned a lot from people. I've learned probably more from people that I've seen them make mistakes, and do things that I'm like, I'm not going to do business that way, or I'm not going to treat people that way, or I'm not going to do this or that. And so I've learned from a lot of people that I wouldn't call necessarily a friend or even somebody that I would enjoy spending time with or learning from the good things. But I've learned a lot from what I don't want to do, But then there's I think the world we live in with TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, we are all learning from the same influential people. You know, you got the Grant Cardones, and you got, you know, the Gary V's, and you got all the different guys and people that are influential in different business realms. You know what I mean? You know, you got the, you know, the shows like The Profit, or these different things that are like business realm shows, or, you know, dare I say, a Donald Trump back from when he did The Apprentice. You know what I mean? Like you can look and learn from things like that, and how to be better, or in some cases how to not do things, you know? So, but for me, again, it's the people that I'm close to. You know, I look at people that I report to, I report to at my church, the lead pastor there, Pastor Juan. I learned a lot from him, you know, different people that I've over the years that I've got close relationship with. And like I said, business partners and people that I've done business with, and even seen some of them fail, you know, and how do they come back, you know? Again, one of the business partners that I look at that works at the John Maxwell team, you know, his name's Chris, and I've seen him go from uber successful to things didn't work out to now beyond his wildest dreams. You know what I mean? And so, you know, so there's just a lot of different people, but again, beyond the people that are just TikTok famous for me, you know, it's some close business relationships, and then, you know, family and close people that I trust, that I can really, you know, because I really think anybody can be successful. I really do. You know, I don't think there's not many bad ideas out there. You know what I mean? It's more in how you execute them, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What's some of the books that you think have been very important to your Uber tech, you know? Not like Lyft, Uber, like
sure,
you know,
sure,
super, but like more TikTok-y, trendy.
Yeah. So again, I mean,
for you,
this is all coming from a guy who doesn't like to read. You know, I'm not a huge reader, and I say that, and I probably have one of the larger home libraries. You know, I probably, if I were to guesstimate, I probably have over 1,000 books. You know, and you know, I'd say 700 or 800 of those are business, leadership, finance, growth, those types of books. And now that I've not read 1,000 of them, you know, that would be a lie, but I've scanned most of them and read a good portion of them. Yeah, I read a good portion, and a lot of them I use like a library. I go in and I'll pull a book, and it's on a specific topic that I'm working on or whatever, and I'll go through and highlight certain things and pull out some good points. But for me, so some of the books so I'm saying that to say I couldn't name them all. You know what I mean? There's just so many books that have really taught me a lot. You know, there's one by Tim Ferriss. It's called Tools of the Titans, and it's a book like, I could go grab it, but it's like massive. It's really thick, but it's really just like tips and tools and tricks of the trade from so many different people. You know, it's just like a highlight clip. You know, so I've pulled a lot of things out of that book. You know, there's the 21 Laws of Leadership is probably the book that I use. That book, the 21 Laws of Leadership, that book has made me more money than any other book that I have. You know, it's kind of where I started my leadership development. Huh? I just keep reselling the same book. Yeah, I just resell the same book, and I just never ship it. So it does wonders. No, but I mean, the things that I've learned from there is kind of like the beginning ground of my leadership, and the growth and the training and stuff. So there's that. There's a couple other books, 5 Levels of Leadership, a book that I've really grown to love, especially when it comes. I do a lot with teams and teamwork. It's called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And it's you know, it's one of those you can pick it up at an airport. It's, you know, pretty much at every airport, but it really breaks down the team aspect and how, you know, when you get along, work with other people, and most of us, a lot of people leave jobs not because of the job, but because of the people. You know, I don't get along with my employees, or my boss doesn't like me, or I don't like my boss, and so most of the issues that people have in this world are people problems. You know, so The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team was a huge book that really kind of taught me a lot of different things about working through those dysfunctions. Another huge book that I've read multiple times is by, I mentioned Gary V. It's jab, 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 right hook. You know, so you know, that's not the title of the book, but he said if he was to actually give the title what it should have been, that's what it should have been. You know. So there's, but there's a massive amount of the world we live in with the information that's out there to help people grow. There's no excuse. You can get them for free online. You can get them for free on the web. You can, most of them, the podcast or the audio is available. So, it kind of takes away the excuses to not to grow or to lead. But those would be some of the business books and leadership books. But ultimately, again, and I'm not saying this just because I'm a pastor, but really the Bible. It really is.
I'm about to call you out.
No, and I know business people who aren't even Christians and don't have a walk with the Lord, who use the Bible as a book of wisdom. They'll pull into some of the stories, or the book of Proverbs that really just has a lot of wisdom written into it that really works in the business world. You know what I mean? So, ultimately the Bible, but I felt like that'd be a cheap answer that I would give first, but it's the most important one. So.
Look, you need to go where you're celebrated and not tolerated,
There you go.
That's what I'm saying.
That's it, man. That's it.
So you going to write a book or what? We're going to get
No, I'm not a writer.
We're going to get like a road to success,
Actually I had a business partner who me and him wanted to write a book for a while. And I actually started working on it. And I just thought, man, I'm like, he'd have all this stuff set, and, I'm like, I'm just not a writer. It's just not a gift that I have, and that's some of these things that I've learned, like, I'm trying to be something I'm not, you know what I mean? Like there's other people that are good at that. Like, I'd rather just buy their book and read it and take all the good stuff from it. You know what I mean? Like a John Maxwell, or, on any of these people that have written great books, on life or leadership or personal development. I don't need to be good at everything. Somebody's already got that, so. I think I lost you there. There we go.
A little bit. You getting calls,
I'm getting, my phone's blowing up, because I got a 2:45. I got to jump on here. And so there, I think people are, where are you at? What are you doing? So we got a couple minutes, but the phone calls start flooding in,
Oh, okay. Calling you about the prophet. Not the,
something like that.
Which I'm not sure which one, but you know what I mean.
Not Marcus Lemonis.
There you go. You write a book called The Prophet. You could
play on words.
God over money. You know what I'm saying?
God over money.
All right. What is so what would be like a final thought for you about, if you're talking to people who have, let's just do like a final thought. Let's say you're talking to people who have issues with motivation and being able to take the next step and take the leap without feeling scared or just like anxious about it. How to take the next step into investing finally, into going to a new job. Because you were like, most people leave jobs not because of the work, it's because of the people. So what would you say to people who are struggling with making a decision like that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there are a lot of things pop into my head on what I would say to someone, and it's kind of hard, blanket statements are cool, but everybody has their own individual situation, But the first thing that kind of came to me was understanding, man, sometimes you got to sacrifice things. You know what I mean? Sometimes things are going to be hard. You know what I mean? Sometimes a job is going to suck, or things are going to be difficult, or you're not going to get along with your boss or a coworker, or it's not going to be the perfect situation. But when it comes to sacrifice, like, some of your greatest sacrifices ultimately lead to your greatest victories. You know what I mean? And so that would be my charge to anybody who's hearing that. Like, what advice would you say? One is use wisdom. You don't want to stay in a bad situation, for sure. Like, there's a balance there. You know what I mean? But again, there's some great sacrifices that are to be made to kind of lead you to where you may want to go. And I've seen that so many times where people, are about to give up. They're about to give up, and then they hold on. And then now fast forward 5 years down the road, they look back and say, man, I almost gave up. And if I would have just known, if I would have held on for 3 months longer, I was going to get that raise or that promotion, or I was going to quit because that boss, actually, one of the financial companies that I worked for, there was a lot of employees that I had that wanted to leave not because of me, but because of the head guy, the guy who oversaw the whole business. And I just kept encouraging, like, hey, listen, you're on my team. Just stay here. Just push through. We're going to make it work. And some of them, like, it was about 20 people, and about half of them had a problem with this guy. And they're like, I'm gonna leave. And a couple of them actually ended up quitting. And literally 2 months later, we came, and that guy was cleaning out his office because corporate fired him. You know what I mean? And it was like, if you would have just held on, you know what I mean? And then now we brought somebody else in who was great. I actually got a promotion and had a lot, hand in a lot of different things. And so there's always the balance there. It's like the balance of understanding, like, hey, things don't always work out. And it's the world we live in where everybody wants things easy and things are right. But, you just got to be confident in who you're called to be and where you're called to go and do from there. But it's a lot of it's got to be with sacrifice. The world we live in, we don't like to sacrifice anything. You know what I mean? We just don't, or I don't, nobody it's not comfortable to sacrifice things. You know what I mean? And so sometimes you got to sacrifice where you're at now for where you want to be down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I know you got to go. Thanks so much for coming on. And
absolutely, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Being a part of this experience.
Yeah, man. Just remember when you make it big, just remember I was one of your first 10, right? You know what I mean? So
hey, one of my first 17.
First 7. I didn't even make it the top 10. First 20. Top 20. Okay.